All right, good morning. Hello and welcome. Today's Community Day is presented by Horizon Foundation for New Jersey. Thank you for joining us today as we commemorate Juneteenth. On this day, we want to acknowledge the many disparities created in America due to the enslavement of people of color and use this now federally recognized holiday as a way to cultivate equity, raise social awareness, and underscore the importance of Black lives and Black voices. Before we begin this program, we would like to acknowledge the traditional homelands of the Lenape, also known as the Delaware, upon which the Newark Museum of Art resides. My name is Kirsten Mayer, and it is my honor to introduce this program for you all today. We have a wonderful guest, Kween Moore, who is going to introduce us to creative journaling. I want to give a huge welcome to Kween. And for those who don't know, Kween is a true Renaissance woman. Kween is a curator, interdisciplinary artist, poet, and arts educator. Kween is dedicated to all things in the art and their community impact. Just to name a few of Kween's accomplishments, Kween is the owner and lead curator for Femme Curator Arts, a curatorial collective of dynamic art educators and enthusiasts. Kween's art program, Urban Creative Arts Workshop, has been invited to Haiti for multiple tours to teach an intensive summer arts program and has partnered with NJ for Haiti, a nonprofit organization delivering medical needs and care. Kween's most recent literary and visual works have been published in a delicate handmade anthology titled A Womb of Violet, produced by Fayemi Shakur. And Kween has partnered with Express Newark Records, Blueprint Cafe, and Newark Riverfront for community poetry open mic, just to name a few. So please join me in giving a huge welcome to Kween. Kween, we are so excited to have you today.
Good morning, Kirsten. How are you?
Great.
It is such a beautiful morning.
It is such a great morning to make some art. So tell us a little bit what we have in store for today.
Well, today we are going to explore a little bit about creative journaling. What a fine time to do it during Juneteenth. It's a great way to look back at our culture. Some of us don't know where we're rooted from, unfortunately. Due to some unfortunate circumstances, but we're going to keep the energy up today. And today is about not a celebration, but a day of commemoration and honoring where we came from and what we know. And if you don't know, that's okay. Gather pictures. You can make your own family up through pictures, through magazines, through people you don't even know. It's all energy based. So I'm excited to show you what I have. I can't wait to see, Kirsten, what you have. And I think we have a little there's something we were talking about, you and I, about people sharing their work with the Newark Museum from this particular project, so that they'll be able to email it and then we can put it on our social media. So there's a whole bunch of stuff today. That's exciting.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
So we have a couple of slides up here if you wanted to give everyone the opportunity to dive deeper into your own work and your practice as an artist.
Excellent. Okay, so the first slide that you initially saw, which was me painting, I had that one there. There you go. I'm in my home studio here. This is my best personal space. This is where this picture actually became one of the prints for my creative journaling. And I still have this painting. It was just when I really represented a time of like complete sheer happiness and like coming into yourself and being and living in color, like today's theme, like literally living in color. And I wherever it's been premiered and I've exhibited it, a lot of people have said I stood in front of it and I felt like this glow of magic. I'm like, that's what I felt in that moment when I painted it. So that's what we're doing today. We're just sharing the glow, living in color. And then the next piece that you saw with the two, this is Sistren Unbothered. This started out as my blackboard or my bulletin board in school. I'm a K-4 art teacher. Shout out to Great Oaks Legacy Charter School. So this started out, I did a row of like 6 to 12 women in a plane, an African inspired plane. And all of them had on different head wraps and dresses. And then I digitalized it and took my painting and put a nice background behind it so that I can have a digital format of it. And then it became this. So I took one piece and I just kept growing from it. That's kind of like our culture. We take one piece and we want to move and grow with it. And then, so this was the original painting when I first started it. This was the outline, and then I finished it, and then I photographed it, and then I digitalized it in Photoshop. So I'm not sure what else you have. Ah, here we go. This is my lovely dining room table during COVID. When I initially started this project, my kindergarten through fourth grade students started with me. It was a really great opportunity for them to share what was going on briefly and softly at home, going through this transition. It was tough for everybody. The painting that you see in the background of Breonna Taylor, that's one of my teammates, Diana Pilar from A Brighter Day. She loaned me her painting for my home studio while I was teaching remotely. So I wanted to like really encompass my classroom at home. And as you can see on the table down there, you can see a picture of me and my son in my journal where it says, "Help keep your children safe." And that's my great grandmother on the right-hand side, and a book called Daughters. I tore up pages from it, and certain aspects of it were relative to my great grandmother, Vandina. So shout out to my great grandmother, who I've never met. But I did get a chance to acquire this image of her from my 93-year-old great aunt that was still living, and she sent me this picture. So then if you can see here, this was another journal that I started. I have several journals, as you saw, Kristen. I have like 15 unfinished journals, and I switch back and forth. I did a lot of layering of paper. I used old dictionaries, any old text. I go thrifting for old books so that I can find that type of ephemera that really makes me feel like I'm connected, or my work is going to connect to it. I took an artificial flower here and took the spine off the back, and I glued it into the page because my grandmother loved gardening. It's just about layering on, and I think that's what we are people of. We're people in layers. We're not one dimensional. We're multidimensional. And if we understand that with our history, then today should be pretty much a breeze. Here you can see a closer look at the push and pull and the levels of inks and paint. I painted the background first with a wash, a turquoise wash, and then I took some scrap papers. Nothing is trash. You can use everything over and over and over again. Everything has a sustainable life. This book that you see with my great grandmother, as you can see, Sunday was my great grandmother's day for cooking. I heard that she would cook a really big meal. She'd invite everybody over. And I feel like when I open a book, there's a certain message on the page that really connects with me. So I just look for the message, and I look for a place to apply it. And that's how we got here. And then I painted my baby shirt that says poet. I don't know if he's going to be a poet when he grows up, but for right now, because he can't talk, he's a poet. So, yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. And I hope everyone out there is getting inspired. We're going to be diving more into these themes. So why don't you share with us what we need to get started today? Then we can dive into what even is creative journaling. So first, let's get our supplies, and then we can go on ahead.
Okay, so the first thing you're going to need here, I wish I can drop my screen a little bit, but then you're still not, oh, well, you can actually. You're going to need here a journal. This was the journal that I actually was working in. I drew on the front of it, but I glued a quote here. You want just a blank journal. These are how these ugly pages started out. They were really bleak and looking for love. And then I went crazy. So this is how you want to start. You want to get a journal. I also bought a second journal. This one came all the way from India. I just got this one last week. This is a handmade leather bound journal. So anything that's blank, but the beauty of it is if it's not blank, you can use a regular book that has pages in it and kind of work right over top of that. So if the pages have like words on it, just open up the book and go right over top of it with your paintbrush, whatever you have. Nothing too crazy. Don't be too strict on yourself. Don't be strict on yourself at all. This is supposed to be a release project. Okay. The next thing you're going to need is some glue sticks. Glue sticks are one of my favorite things because they're semi-permanent. Also, I have some double-sided tape. You don't have to use double-sided tape, but you can. That's a really great thing to use. In addition to that, I have some washi tape. Washi tape is not really one of my favorite things because I like permanency. I'm a very permanent person. I don't know why, but I don't like to be permanently held to anything. It's weird. But anywho, when we're talking about creative journaling, washi tape, you can put a little bit of glue behind it if you want it to stick, or a little bit of Mod Podge, and it'll become permanent. So if not, double-sided tape, washi tape is good, and it's decorative too. So it has some different pictures. I found this in the clearance section at Michael's, so grab some of that. I also have my paint brushes here of various sizes and shapes. You have a square brush, you have a watercolor brush, you have a flat sharp brush here, you have a pointed brush, you have a sponge, which if you're doing a lot of texture and design and you want to get a creative pattern, you want to definitely have a sponge. And I recycled this vegetable can. Pretty cool. These are some other things if you want to do some continuous printing. This is a pool noodle. I use this when I teach block printing and printmaking, as you can see on my shirt. This is shout out to the Newark Print Shop and Lisa Conrad, owner of Newark Print Shop in Newark. I was one of the artists there that created their own brand of clothing using traditional screen printing, but I also did some block lettering and urban printing. And we use pool noodles and we slice them, and this will give you a repetitive circle design as a nice background. And then you can work right on top of that. So get you a pool noodle from the Dollar Tree. Those are pretty cool. And then you want pictures. You want as many pictures and pieces. I go to IKEA and I grab their catalog. I go to Home Depot and I grab their color charts and I cut them out. Like on the back, there's a whole booklet, but I cut them out. Because I'm like, this will be a great runner inside of your page. If you don't want to paint or if you don't have access to markers or crayons or what have you, go to Home Depot. They're free. I have a whole container of them here that's, let me show you. A whole container of them here. And they might look at you like you're a little crazy, but just grab as many of these color swatch cards as you can. And you can use these in your creative journaling. Next up, you can use some rubber stamps on top of your paper. Rubber stamps are here. I also painted this box. It was an Amazon box. So shout out to Amazon. I don't believe in buying things I can make. I just don't. So here are some rubber stamps here. And these are good for layering inside of your journal and just putting things and messages right where you need them in pictures if you're worried about drawing or knowing how to draw or knowing how to paint, okay? My favorite material to make art with is recycled materials, believe it or not. I can paint, I can draw, I'm a photographer, I can screen print, but I love upcycling and turning trash into treasure. The last thing I want to show you, or the last couple of things, these are Pigment Inks. These are by Delusions from Michael's. Get you a coupon, get you some of these. They're kind of like alcohol inks, but you'll see I created a page with these in layers. They're a little messy, but just cover your workspace. And this is if you don't have paint, you can definitely spray with paper towel and those inks. Last but not least, make sure that you have some Mod Podge. Mod Podge will give you a gloss. It's also a finish. Some are matte finish. So if you're looking for a gloss, make sure it says gloss on it. This is a great way, a great measure to liquid glue. Elmer's glue doesn't dry as fast as Mod Podge, but it's a great material to have. And that's how I made everything in here that has fabric on it, is with Mod Podge. Okay. It's like Walmart in a jar. So these are my two favorite things, Kirsten. This is the Canon Iv. It's a small printer, handheld printer. I can print stickers, as you can see, of my son. I printed this little picture and I can take it wherever I go and stick them. I can print if we're at a virtual party or if we meet somewhere 6 feet apart. It's a great way to have your pictures printed if you don't want to use a big printer. In addition to that, I have the Pulley Printer. The Pulley Printer is a great way to do thermal printing. It doesn't require ink. Neither one of these require ink. They're thermal prints. The IV is a little bit more expensive, but this is almost like this Pulley Printer prints black and white like this, thermal printing. And they're small pieces that you can glue right in the book, okay? I think that was the fastest material distribution list I've ever given. So yeah.
I love it. I love it so much. I'm inspired. I want to buy that printer now. And also you touched on a really good point for our guest from home. You can make art from literally anything, upcycle it all. Just, change your mindset, rebrand things for sure. All right, so we have our supplies. I have mine too. I'm really excited. So what is creative journaling?
So creative journaling, I think, is a way to walk away from your reality in this moment. It's a way to step away from the restrictions and the titles and the the daily grind and the stress and the anxiety. It's a great way to go inward selfishly in a positive way. It gives you a chance to view your vantage point and your perspective based on how you see it and what you have to work with and what you save. I think we are so used to giving out so much of ourselves, we don't ever require time to save what we feel is important to us. But that's different with me. I've had to learn how to save time, save space, save art materials, save money, save love for myself. And creative journaling is just a great way to get out of your own daily hectic way. So that's it in a nutshell, in the most personal way, not structured language or dictionary terms.
Yes, I love that. All right, so I don't know about anyone else, but I'm ready. Let's get started. So
okay,
how do we begin?
Everything that I'm going to be pulling with and working with today. So for instance, this is a picture of my great grandmother here. I acquired this picture from that great aunt. I told you that was 93. So this is my great grandmother, my great grandmother, Pearl. This is her great grandmother.
Wow.
And I actually got my hands on this picture. So as you can see the footnotes, this is my great grandmother 5 times forward, to the 5th power, Violet. This is her. And this is her this is her granddaughter. Okay. And this is my 93-year-old aunt that I was telling you about when she was a little girl. So we're going to be using that picture. Yeah, I was so shocked when she mailed me. I had a pedigree project in college and they were like, you got to find out as much as you can about your family. I'm like, how? They're all deceased. I don't know how. You want me to figure that out? So they said, if you want an A, you'll figure it out. So I called the eldest, last living great person in my family. And she sent me a 10-page handwritten package of pictures and information and who was who. And I think it's very important that we have conversations, even if it leads you to nowhere, at least start the conversation like, hey, where are we from? Do we know anything? And if you don't know, create it. That's all I can tell you. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to open up to a new page in my journal. I'm going to turn on my other camera here. Let's see. Kirsten, can you let me know if I'm logged, if you can see me?
Absolutely.
I'm going to try to log in again. Okay. So you should be able to see what I'm doing overhead.
We're going to wait a couple of seconds for it to open on up. And my friends out in the audience, feel free to enter into the chat who you're creating art with, what images and stories and memories are you pulling from, your favorite supplies. My friends on Facebook and YouTube, we see you. Please feel free to enter into the comments and chat with us. We'd love to hear about your process. So I do not see your overhead.
Oh my gosh.
That's okay.
It's saying preparing meeting. So for now, what I'll do is I'll just clear out some workspace and I'll tell you what else I'm starting with today. I'm also working with, there's a thing called ephemera, and ephemera are things that are short-term or have a temporary life. For instance, like oatmeal packets. I felt like this was important in this mother's milk tea bag packet because A, it's good for breast milk and breastfeeding moms. But I also felt like mother's milk is very important. It's strength and then detox. Sometimes you need, and you can put little things in here once you glue them. You put the glue on the back here and detox. Sometimes we need to detox from people and things and what have you. So this is what ephemera is. Shout out also to Black Girl Magic Box. It was a monthly subscription that I had where they would send you wellness things as a Black woman and a Black girl, the things that make you feel good, like this head wrap and different things like that. But I recycled the box for my tea tags on my yogi teas. There's like these really awesome messages that I glue in my journal also, as you can see. And I have a whole box, a whole year supply of them in here, if you can really get a peek of that. So that's one big thing. In addition to that, today, everything that I'm using is going to be relative to Black culture, African culture, whether it's animals, whether it's the plane, whether it's the safari, that's what I'm going to be using. It's telling me that there's a firewall that's blocked. Hold on, let me turn off my Wi-Fi. Maybe that's the problem.
If you have the Zoom app.
And I am on the Zoom app. That's the thing. It's weird. I'm just going to turn off my Wi-Fi. There we go.
All right. It shows you, even a year into this whole digital thing, we still.
All right. Okay, so tell me what you can see. start my video.
Beautiful. We see overhead.
Excellent, excellent. Should I lower it any more or?
Yeah, if you can get a little bit closer.
Sure can. Tell me what's good. That might be good, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Shout out to Zoom for being patient with us and letting us be all the way excellent. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do, if you want to paint the background, you can. I usually like to skip a page in between because if you're working with a heavy pigmented paint or ink, it will bleed through. So like Sharpies, as you can see, there's some Sharpie lines that are coming through here. So I kind of like, if I'm just going to do a message on one page, that's fine. But if you want to use 2 pages, I usually do 2. You want to make sure that you either cover it so that your new image is not kind of conflicting with it. So let's get started. I have these really awesome squares of paper here. Try to save as much paper as possible. You can also tear out pages from a book to use as your background. I'm actually going to work on a page that I already started. So here you can see I used some watercolor pigments in a spectrum, a rainbow spectrum. And then I used a dictionary with different words that I felt like were important. So considering, dash, prenatal, these are all words that I really paid attention to. I was really intentional about what I put in my journal because after all, you're gonna have to see this when you open this book again. So you wanna make sure that every time you open it, it makes you feel good and it takes you to a place of peace, or at least vacation, if you can't go on vacation. So here, if you can look, I went to the thrift store maybe 2 weeks ago, and I pulled out this book called African Reservational Parks. And I just cut different pictures. I took some footnotes here, as you can see, of what the image was about if I cut away the title. For instance, like this was the last living adult female lioness, Lady Liua, and she died at age 18 in 2017. But she was really a really prized lioness that was moved to repopulate a certain part of Africa and Chad. So that's why she was important to me. Here, I really enjoy the relationship between my son and his father. So I saw this picture of this lion and I cut it out. Now, keep in mind, you can either keep the whole page, it's totally up to you, or you can cut away the important information. So I cut away the important information so that I can keep this, because this is what I needed. I also cut out some pictures of an elephant. This is almost similar to collage work. If you want to do a collage technique, there's many different types of creative journaling. You have collage, you have bullet journals, you have just straight out creative journaling. So there's many ways that you can take a certain direction. There's no wrong way to journal, okay? I repeat, there's no wrong way to journal. So I just pulled a bunch of beautiful pictures of animals because it is Juneteenth. So let's move this over. I know it looks like a crazy disaster, but this is what my studio
That's the art process, you know? It seems like a mess to the outsider, but really it's
right.
That's where the magic happens.
Right. So, and Kirsten, you said you had some materials today too. What are some of the things you brought?
So I'm going to switch over my camera.
Okay.
I also am a notebook lover and I collect notebooks. So from our lovely Newark Museum of Art shop, I have this notebook. It is one of the panels from our great Joseph Stella. And I like to write down quotes that I like. So I'm going to have some quotes maybe that I want to throw in. I've got some poetry, not my own, but other poems that I find inspiring. So I'm thinking I want to pair that with some images. I have some Polaroids and art that I love. And then
this is going to be beautiful.
Thank you. And then I have our latest and most exciting collaboration because we love all things Newark. The Newark project partnered with the museum and they made this custom, I don't know if you can see it, notebooks, in addition to tote bags and t-shirts and posters. And it says, I make the world and the world makes me, which I feel like is such a perfect sentiment for today and all the themes that you're sharing. So I cannot wait to fill these pages. The blank canvas.
Let's get started. Matter of fact, I'm going to go with a blank page today. I think today deserves a blank page so that we can see everything come together. So Kirsten, I'm going to let you decide, would you like me to paint the background really quickly, or would you like me to just layer on with paper? So we have a
Oh my
choice.
gosh.
It's so,
Okay.
it's so intense.
I'm going to throw that to the crowd in the chat, my
Okay,
friends. Tell
let's
us.
see.
It's like a choose your own adventure. Should Queen paint or collage? Oh, I see a vote for painting. Oh,
See painting. I definitely see painting. Okay, so
painting, the
everybody, let's just start
resounding.
painting.
All
Let's do it.
right.
All right, so the first thing that I'm going to do, you want to make sure that you have enough space to get your things up. I just dropped a bunch of stuff. I'm going to let it stay there. You want to make sure you have water. I also have a bucket of water. I misplaced it. Oh, here it is. It's not misplaced. So you can use one of those recycled vegetable cans just to put a little water in so that you can wash your brushes. That's what you saw me do here. I just put a little water in that. I'm going to take this brush here and I'm going to dilute it. I'm going to make a wash so that it dries a lot quicker. So a wash is you're mixing paint with water and you're making it really translucent almost. And that's what we're going to do. So let's pick this color. I love this color blue. This is what we're going to use. This is cerulean blue. And I'm just going to take this and dip my brush in water just a little bit. As you can see, I'm going to do it right on camera so you can see. Okay, make sure you have a piece of cardboard. It's always important to have cardboard or a palette. I have a palette here. So I'm going to mix right on the palette so that you can see. So I can get the right consistency. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of paint here, go over here and create that wash. I want it a little more looser than that. So now it's going to be almost like a watercolor, but more pigmented and more permanent. Then I'm just going to get in here. And you can do either a technique like this, the infinity technique, or you can just keep the lines nice and smooth. Okay, it doesn't have to go all the way to the edge if you want it to. Perfect. Now, there's a little trick here if you want to get this to dry ultra quickly. Use a piece of paper towel or let's see, I'm going to close this page. Watch what I do. I'm going to smooth this onto the other, so maybe we don't have to paint the other side. Let's see if it worked. Ah, and look at that.
That was so clever.
Very quickly, right? And it just took some time off. If you still want to go back into it and get some of that off, you can. If not, quickly fan it, or you can use a hair dryer or a heat gun. Or just use straight paper towel. So that's fine. But in the meantime, I'm going to just use my sponge and take any excess off. Boom. And we're ready. We're already ready that quick. Okay.
Wow.
So don't be too hard on yourself. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Do you recommend a certain notebook with particular paper that is sturdier to withhold it? Or do you think that method kind of makes it easier?
It can if you don't let the paper get saturated. If you let it stay too wet, it will break down. So papers like from the Dollar Tree, unfortunately, Five Below, I've experimented with a lot of different types of paper. They will break down with the friction of you going over and over and over, especially if you're using a really coarse brush as this one here. This will really break the paper down really quickly. So you want to invest in a really good journal. Michael's, Amazon. Like I got the Indian journal that I bought that came from India. I got it on Etsy, as big as it is and as beautiful as it is, for $40. I said, I'm going to skip Marshall's and I'm going to buy the journal that I want. And I watched that journal for 6 months. And originally it was $89, but the paper in there is it's handmade, but it's a really good grade of paper. So you want to make sure that you have a good grade of paper. Let me plug in my laptop charger because I just saw my light go dim.
Okay? Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So now that we have that going, I'm excited. We're back.
All right, my friends from home, are you painting too? Put it into the chat what you're up to. Charlie, my friend Charlie in the chat, is going to use images of Charlie and Charlie's little sister, which is very sweet.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, Charlie's little sister. If Charlie's little sister is joining us. So you want to have a blank piece of cardboard here like I have. This is just for you if you want to doodle things down or jot down notes of what your respected idea is going to be. Put it here on this cardboard. Or if you want to blend paints and you don't have a palette, Cardboard, cardboard, cardboard is your best friend, okay? So the first thing that I want to get started doing is I want to look at placements of images right after I layer my paper. Now, the fun thing about certain papers is that you can cut them and do different shapes as your background and kind of like overlap in the paper, or you can just tear it. Simple as that, and leave that frayed edge. That frayed edge adds some texture and some character. And it also says, you know what, I'm having fun. Like I'm really creating from my heart and not really able to locate my scissors. Also, note, always have 2 pairs of scissors. Not because you need 2, because you're going to lose 1 pair in this mess. So make sure you always have 2. So I'm going to start here and just kind of like glue this yellow piece of paper down. As you can see, I'm going to put a little bit of glue here. If you want to use double-sided tape like what I have here, you can. Oh, wait, let me find my picture. Here it is. I'm getting this directional thing really well. I'm trying. So here, I have some double-sided tape. You can line it along the edge of the paper, but let's get started. So you don't need to do a bunch of glue because it will be difficult to lay down. Just do the edges of where you need it to be. You can always go back and add more glue if necessary. So I'm going to pick a spot right here in the middle. I'm going to start from left to right, use 1 finger and smooth it out. It's okay if it's not straight. This is your journal. It doesn't have to be straight. Okay. And you're going to go over top of it with whatever images, smooth it out with your hands, nice and neat. Okay. And then if you see, like I have this little edge, just lift that back up, put a little glue there, and that bad boy is laying down. Now I want to take this other piece and I'm going to use this piece. Maybe not. I want to change colors. Okay. And you can just do an organic tear. Organic means that it happens naturally to the environment. You didn't use a pair of scissors. Okay. So over here, and just figure out where your placement is going to go. Okay. I think I want to use this top corner here. I don't know. Did I switch the wrong camera? Can you see?
Yes, we can see you.
Okay. Because on my screen, it's showing me. Maybe I need to change my view. There we go. So I'm going to add a little bit more glue on this edge. And remember, like I cut a lot of things and I save them in baggies. My husband says all my stuff is everywhere all over the house. And I'm like, you're right. No argument here. It's because
You never know when you're going to need it. You never know when you're going to need it.
So I just invested in a really big box of Ziploc bags. It's still all over the house. So it's okay. It's all right. So as you can see, friends, I have 2 layers here of paper. I'm going to keep layering until I don't want to do any more paper. And you'll know when you're done. You'll know when you're done. And if you're not, I was
going to ask, yeah, how would you encourage someone who's maybe shy or timid about the art making process to just commit to that empty page? I know it can be daunting. People want things to look perfect. How would you encourage that timid art maker to really go for it?
I'm one of those timid art makers because I'm so traditionally bound to the canvas or, you know, to something so permanent like photography. So because I'm always on exhibit, it has to be right. And when I got to journaling, I'm like, oh my God, I messed up. How am I going to get this out of this book? Cover it over. That's it. Cover it over. It's the most beautiful thing. Like gesso and canvases, you can cover over any image with gesso. Same thing with your journal. Cover it over. That's it. So if you're timid about it, it's okay. It's your journal. It's your timid journal. Okay, write the word that you most are afraid of on every page if you need to. Like really get okay with the blank space. And even if you're not, draw your own lines. They can go diagonally. They can be dots. Like there's no wrong way to do this. This is your personal space. Okay. And that's the beauty of it. I remember as a little girl, I would write in my journal and I always felt like it wasn't safe to write in there. So I would write what I felt people always wanted to read if they happened to pick up my journal, which did a really big disservice to me as a person in my personal space and understanding my personal space. So when I got to my journal, that immediate fear came back like, oh my God, someone's going to pick up my journal and read all of my most personal. Doesn't matter. You don't even have to have words in your journal. Okay. So the first thing that I'm going to plant here, I found this beautiful, beautiful picture of this woman from out of my African journal that I bought. She is part of the Himba tribe. So this is her here. I'm going to use this picture and I'm going to glue her right here on this side of the page. I hope you guys can really see this. Okay, I'm going to rotate my journal a little bit so you can see. So I'm going to glue this woman right over top of the red and the pink. As you notice, there was something really intense about culture looking at her. She has a basket on her head. She's walking with this fierce like posture, and her skin is absolutely beautiful and like bronze. And that's what I wanted in my journal. When I look at my journal, I want to see reflections of me and the things that I believe are key. So peace, art, love, family, food. Like I have a lot of pictures of food that are also in my journal. So here I'm gonna glue her right in here, right over top of the red and the pink, okay? Then on top of that, I'm gonna use another picture over here. It's kind of big, but it's okay, it's okay. I have this picture of these two little children here. These were children that were moved into this new part of town. They were rescued in the Chinko tribe. And these are called internally displaced people, IDPs. And they were displaced from their home and moved to another part of Africa. And this was a beautiful, beautiful picture of them seeking their new way of life wherever they were from. If you look, you can see the baby is on the little girl's back and her little sibling is here. And I thought it just had so much texture and color. So we're going to use this. And shout out to all the young girls that are standing strong, helping their parents, especially through COVID, that are like really taking a stand on what it means to be strength. Because sometimes we don't have it as ladies, and everyone requires us to be strong. Sometimes, you need to just create art. That's a strength. So as you see here, I'm just adding a little bit of glue around the edges. If you want to put glue in the middle, you can, just a little bit though. I don't suggest a lot. And I want you to layer that right over top. So that background is really popping out. Remember, you want to press down from one direction to the other. So I'm going to start from the top and smooth to the bottom so that you can remove any air bubbles. Okay. And this is a really thick page. This book cost me 50 cents at Unique in Union, New Jersey. You want to find pictures. I found a quilting picture. I felt like this was pretty cool. So I can put this down here, but I don't think I really want to use that. That's not what I see. And you will know when the picture sits well with your spirit. You'll say, oh, okay, I like that. Or no, I don't like that. Or that's not the idea that I had. And that's okay. Move it around, but don't glue it down unless you're for certain that that's where you want it. So this works perfectly. This picture of this elephant works absolutely perfect. And it creates a dimensional look like he's actually beside this young girl. So I'm going to turn it around so you guys can see what it looks like there. Okay. So
I love that. That looks awesome.
Right. So if you didn't want to put another picture here, you can start using either color swatches or words. Let's experiment with that because we already work with pictures. Let's go through some of our color swatches and kind of pick like what colors. Ooh. So here, and on these color swatches, you can actually write words or messages and you can layer them in. It's totally up to you what you like. Pick the direction. I'm trying to figure out what direction I want to go in. Here, maybe. And then maybe a green across the top. I think I found my colors. Not that one. I'm looking right in here. So I'm creating a border within a frame. That's what this is. I'm creating a border right here. Okay, let's get started. All right, so I'm going to glue these down. Remember, I got these from Home Depot or Lowe's. Just go in there and grab as many as you like. If they ask, you tell them that the Newark Art Museum said that it was okay.
Yes.
Right.
You're authorized.
Right, you're authorized, the Newark Art Museum. Just drop Kirsten's name. It's okay. Okay, so I did those two there. And if you want to carry the same technique on this side, you totally can. I'm looking for colors that kind of mimic what I see here. So I can either overlap here, or I can bring this way to kind of like carry over the same concept that I used over here. You don't have to do that. That's just the way that I think, okay? You can also glue fabric inside of the book. I have some pieces of fabric. I will show you really quickly how to install some fabric in your page. Okay. So there I glued down those swatches. Now let's get some fabric. Just want to locate it because I know it's here. Whoop-de-whoop. Oh, I know where it is. It's in the pink box. So here I have some fabric here. I kind of want to use some of this pink. We're going to open up our Mod Podge and just cut where you feel feels good to you. I'm going to go here. And this is a great way to share, like when you think of photo albums, you think of like, oh, just pictures, traditional photo albums, which is cool. But when I think of a creative journal, I feel like I'm retelling my own story. I'm publishing my own story. Yes, I see we have about, Kirsten, how many more minutes do we have left?
We have about 15 minutes left.
Ooh, awesome. So that's a whole lot of time. Excellent. So you can take your fabric here and you can just like layer this on here, or you can make it into a certain shape. Let's see if I can cut this into a bow really quickly. Think. Here, rounded edge. All right, I'm trying something new here. I'm gonna pull this together like so. Oh, I made a bow. So for all those friends that would like to make a bow, just round your edges out and then pull it to the middle, gather it there. If you want to put a little piece of fabric around the edge, around the middle rather, you can. Let's try it.
Yeah, so much about the art making experience is just experimenting. Just have fun with it, and who knows what you'll be able to create.
Yep. So here you can see I just created a quick bow. I think the bow represents femininity. And if you want, it can go right over top of her head. So I can put a little bit of Mod Podge right on that. Ah. Okay, this Mod Podge is not opening today. There it is. A little bit of strength there. So I can take a little bit of this. You only need a little bit of Mod Podge, and you put it exactly where you want it, right there. And this may not dry immediately, but if you want to use a hot glue gun, you totally can. But I'm going to glue this ribbon like right over top of her head, just like so. I'm going to let that dry. And while that's drying, let's go start adding some words and things that mean like absolute excellence to us. I want to add one more thing over here. I found this really cool picture of all these lions and lionesses that were drinking water. And I'm like, this is the success that I want to see from my friends. I want us all drinking champagne or water or juice or tea from at the same time, at the same space. And I felt like this picture was very monumental into, you know, how I see people in my journal. This is the type of reflection that I always want to keep in my journal. I want to use a picture of, I want to do some words in one of the shrinky pictures from the Canon Iv Printer. So I'm going to peel this back off. These nails are difficult. This is a picture of Amanda Gorman, who delivered the inaugural poet address this year. Like, she set the whole tone for poets. And as you can see, there's some collage that is on her face. I don't know if I can show you guys over here. There he is. This collage that's above her head. So we're going to glue this right. And I found it on one of these collage websites. And I'm like, let me screenshot that. I want that. And I'm just going to glue that right in my journal. Now it's time to add some words, things that sum up what we did in this page. So I have some pieces that hit the floor. We're going to keep those. So over here we have better is the secret ingredient. We have better is something you can feel. Okay. So we can glue these things down, these words. I'm going to also do the Mother's Milk Ephemera packet here. So you can always glue things down that mean something to you. Put a little glue on the back, right in here, just on the back. Okay, I'll do that right there. And then I'm gonna write myself a note. Check this out, friends. I'm gonna write myself an awesome note, and then I'm gonna stick it inside of that envelope, okay? Where is my Sharpie? This is the funny thing, when I put stuff, I organized everything, and now I can't find my Sharpie. So we're gonna skip it. We're gonna skip it, and we're gonna keep moving. We're just gonna put better is the secret ingredient inside of there, okay?
If you had your Sharpie, what would you have written yourself? If you don't mind sharing. Oh, I love that. Short and sweet. Simple.
Yeah. Because it's hard, like being a mom and producing milk, like that's one thing when you're lactating and you're trying to feed another person. If you're stressed out or you're letting the world take you down and everything's coming at you, it slows down the process of your milk. So you end up drying out and you don't get a chance to feed as often as you would like to, or for as long as you like to. And my baby's 16 months, and because of COVID, I'm still feeding him breast milk. So I honor like that message of like, this mother's milk ephemera is like really important to me. So you got this means don't stress out, mom. It's cool. So shout out to all the moms out there, and shout out to all the dads. It is Father's Day weekend during Juneteenth. So definitely shout out to them. But better is the secret ingredient, and that means I'm being better. So that's going to go there. And then on this side, better is something you can feel. We can glue that right down there on the corner. Okay. So a little bit more glue. And have fun with it. Like, I know you guys are going to be thinking every time you see paper now, can I use that in my journal? Yes. Yes. Okay. Layers, 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 texture, layers. I want to do one good quote. Let's see. I have so many quotes. I want to look and see what else would possibly work. Or a dictionary. Oh, powerhouse. That's perfect. It's a perfect dictionary piece. And I cut a crown around the top. So there we have it. Powerhouse is going to go right there. See, you don't even have to look for it. Once you get in the groove of knowing like, hey, what is the message? What is the theme of this page? Or what is not the theme? What do I just want to say in this moment? So I'm doing things that are all relative to excellence, Black excellence, women empowerment, strength, and it's about being a powerhouse. I'm so in love with how this is coming out. And I wanted to do a one beforehand, but I'm like, no, that's going to take the fun away from it. And then last but not least, shout out to Four Corners Public Arts Group, Rebecca John Poe, Angel, the whole group of young ladies, Femme Curator Arts, my whole team, Jasmine Mans, the Arts and Cultural Affairs Department in the city. We had this really awesome event a couple of weeks ago. And it was murals, market, and music. And this was one of the posters as you walked by, an ode to Black girlhood. And I said, this would be perfect for Juneteenth. So we can either trim this, which I think I'm going to trim this image. And that's the beauty about that canvas paper. The Pulley Printer does also have like sticker paper. It's a little less expensive. I paid $45 on Amazon for the Pulley Printer. The canvas, the Canon printer was a little bit more pricier, probably about $100. But if you guys made straight A's or you clean up and you do your chores and all those other good things, who knows? Your mom, dad, cousin, sister, uncle, someone might surprise you. So here is one that I want to put this down somewhere. Kirsten, where do you think I should place this? Placement is very important to me.
Oh, let's see. I feel like it would look good on the page with the girls.
Here?
Somewhere. Yeah.
So we have here, over here. We can do up top. We can do over here above the baby.
I would do up top in that corner.
Right here?
Activate
over
that
here.
space. Oh, yeah, there, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Thanks for letting me be a part of your process.
Oh yeah, I want to see what you created. Okay, so let's take it over to you while I do some last minute touches. I want to see if you're what you're doing on your side of things.
Absolutely. So I was inspired also to go back into the family archives. And yep, here it goes. I also was inspired to go into the family archives, and I found my grandma's scrapbook, and it was her book of her very first date with my grandpa, and like all these little handwritten notes. I'll put my other camera on if you'll indulge me. And so it's got all these little handwritten notes in her handwriting. It's pretty old and it's a little faded, so I need to digitize it. And she saved all her napkins. She saved like postcards. Let's see, with their dates.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, and so it says, "We met and the angels sing," which is funny because my grandpa's name was Angel. He was on house. So that through this book, I realized that they went to Asbury Park a lot, which is someplace that I actually go to a lot too. And so it's nice to have that connection with it. So this was my kind of homage to my experience in Asbury Park. I have to glue it down. So I did like a watercolor background. I really love Alma Woodsey Thomas's work. So I like the mosaic-y. These are all little like Asbury sites. I actually digitized these myself. I drew them on my computer and I printed them out. And these are some pictures I took, and I wanted to use raffia and other like natural looking materials and just random things. And that's kind of my homage to my trips to Asbury that I take. Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's first of all, how did you get your hands on your grandmother's scrapbook? Like, this is amazing. That was the best kept secret.
I know. Yeah. I've always been like the family archivist and historian. I love history. I feel like ever since I was a kid, I loved it, and I loved learning about the past and like other people and other cultures. And I think it's because I'm nosy and I like gossip, and it's like appropriate gossip, you know? So it's important to know these stories, right? We got to keep ourselves informed. So yeah. Yes, absolutely. So our time is about wrapping down. I want to encourage you all to share with us what you are making. You can take pictures of it, upload it on social media, and tag the museum. Like, we really want to hear your stories about your family and where you come from and things that inspire you. So Queen, why don't you show us the final reveal of your work?
Okay, so I'm gonna do it while we're on screen. I'm gonna do the last minute reveal of different things that you can do to kind of like make this page pop out. So remember that wash that we created initially in the beginning? We're gonna go back and use some of that with a really tiny pointed brush. I'm using a number 2. And you may want to use thicker so that it's not so light. And then you can just take it around the edge, because I lost my Sharpie, but have no fear. I have other art materials that are here. And I'm just gonna take this and kind of outline here, not around the whole thing, but things that I feel like deserve some spatial recognition. So here, so if you want to create a frame, that's what I'm doing around the edge.
Wow, that looks so great. And do you recommend like coating that all with a layer of Mod Podge to seal it?
You can. I did it on certain pages that I knew that the inks wouldn't run. So if you're using like an inkjet printer, I don't think it'll work well. LaserJet, maybe. I may have it backwards. But one of them will run if you use a medium over top of it. So just make sure that you read that. But Mod Podge is a great way to preserve a lot of these images. On this side, I'm just going to take a little bit here.
And we did have some inquiries about the printers you were discussing. If you wouldn't mind repeating the name of those for our guests.
Absolutely. So the first printer that I have, that's the thermal printer. That is the Pulley Printer. So it looks like this if you're looking for it on Amazon. Let me go to this way. So it's the Pulley Printer. You'll see this little guy here. And it came with paper, its first roll, but then this is a sticky paper that I bought. 3 rolls come in this box. So the Pulley Printer, this is it, and it's a USB hookup. I can charge it. I really would have liked to have done a print while we were on, but it's okay. And this is the Canon Iv Printer. It's a little bit more expensive, but it comes with a zinc paper, 10 sheets, and then you buy the 50 pack, which is about $25. They come in different colors, so lime green, blue. I bought the rose gold one. So it's pretty cool. This prints color, and the other one prints black and white, but neither one of them do ink. So the zinc paper is a specialty paper that can't be shown in light. So you want to do it in a dark place when you're loading the paper in. And then you get these really cool prints like you saw me working with all day today. Okay. So that's about it. I'm excited. So just go around your pages with your leftover paint, and then you stand here and you marvel. I'm going to hold it up so everybody can see it on the big screen. So are we ready?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm gonna go back. Her bow fell off, but that's okay because it's not fully glued, but we're gonna hold it in place. Okay. So are we doing it on my big screen or on the little screen?
This is on your phone. This is perfect. Wow, I love that.
So
how clever with the tea. I love the tea packet. That's so clever.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's a great way to continue to hide and hoard stuff right in there.
Absolutely.
Oh, my video stopped. Hold on. That's weird. There we go. So I'm going to hold it up this way so everybody can see it behind me. So it all comes together. And this is it, everybody.
Oh my gosh, it's stunning. I can't believe you did that in 40 minutes. So I hope that encourages all of you out there to really enjoy and make your own. So thank you so much. I had so much fun. We hope you were able to gain some insight and found value in today's programming, and that you stay along with us. If you want to find out more about Kween and the awesome things Kween does, please, I encourage you to check out Kween's website, find Kween on Instagram. You will be constantly inspired by all of the things Kween is up to.
Our new website is in the process of being built. So if you go to it, it'll say that it's not published yet because we're working on it behind the scenes. So urbanqueenbrand.com. But I am pretty active on Instagram at Urban Kween Brand, Urban Creative Arts Workshop, Urban Kween Photo, Femme Curated Arts. We're all over the place. So, and if you can't get in touch with me, find the Newark Museum. They know how to get in touch with me.
Yes, absolutely. We will put you in Kween's direction if you inquire. So I just want to thank everyone so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please, I encourage you to partake in our other programs today. You can go to our website, which we have linked in the chat, www.newarkmuseumart.org. And you can click on the Juneteenth banner to check out the other offerings for today. We also ask that you please consider donating to the Newark Museum of Art so that we can continue to bring virtual programming such as this to you. And I want to encourage you to come visit us in person. We are back and open. We are so excited to have our doors open to welcome you all in. Please come to our Arts in the Garden Summer Series. It's in our beautiful sculpture garden. I was there just yesterday. It is glorious. The weather is so nice. June is Caribbean Heritage Month, so we will be celebrating with lots of live music. So please come on down to the museum and enjoy our live music and dance performances at our concert, Caribbean Beats. All that information you can find on our website and Eventbrite. So follow us on Instagram and you will not miss a single event. And you can tag us on Instagram to share with us the things that you created today. We are at Newark Museum Art. All right, that's it for us. But thank you so much again, Kween. I had so much fun. I'm going to continue joining while all my supplies are out. It's going to be a great day. And I hope everyone else has a lovely day as well. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Kirsten. Thank you to the Newark Museum. Thank you to my team. Thank you to my 2 students' artwork up here. Actually, this is one of my 3rd graders, and this is mine here. And thank you to the community. Without you, we can't do artwork like this that means something and that impacts the people. So Shout out to you guys. We'll see you all day. Bye, guys. Thanks,
Bye.
Kirsten.